Welcome to the Monday stream. I hope everyone's having an awesome Monday weekend. Uh, we've got a few different headlines to go over. I'm still feeling a bit under the weather, so I'm gonna take it nice and slow, just like I did this weekend with Saturday Catterday. How's everybody doing? I'm hoping that everybody's having an awesome weekend, and we've got a lot of stuff to go through here, including a new Gab email. Also, folks, quick announcement as we start here. This upcoming Sunday, I will be with Dan Simpson for an hour. We're gonna sit down and have a sit down with an 1 hour interview. DJ Chai, Gab still exists? Yes, it does. Hey, Jesse, how's it going? Yeah, we're gonna have a sit down with Dan Simpson for about an hour next Sunday, 3 p.m. to 4 p.m. Eastern Time. So I'm sure we're gonna have an awesome, phenomenal time there. If you don't already, please take a second to follow Dan Simpson. They are a phenomenal content creator. Alright, let me bring some of my Alright, there we go. Also, folks, really quickly, a huge thank you to some offline follows. A huge thank you to data_love for the offline follow. I appreciate that. And Choke, who is a YouTube moderator at the Nomiki Show. Thank you for the follow. I appreciate that. Echo_Lou. Thank you for the follow. I appreciate that. And Sparrowhawk TV, I did see the request to play mandolin, so if you're here, I will fulfill that request. Otherwise, I'm going to refund your channel points. I do apologize for that. Alright, folks. Let's get into the news, yeah? Oh, Florida. Oh, Florida. You know, for a party that really stresses the necessity of being small government and stresses citizens' privacy, it's kind of weird. Kind of weird. Florida GOP wants to take on cancel culture by secretly recording professors. Nice, nice. The bill would also require faculty to complete annual surveys on their political beliefs. That's not weird at all. Which, if this is true, I'm completely against. Florida Republicans have passed a controversial bill that claims to protect ideological freedom in the state's public colleges and universities. Well, that's kind of weird considering Florida is a very conservative state. So okay. House Bill 233, which now heads to Ron DeSantis' desk for consideration, would require schools to survey the personal political views of faculty and students on their campuses and produce an annual report analyzing the extent to which competing ideas and perspectives are presented. Oh, okay. That's kind of weird. They even linked to the bill here, so Subsection 19 is added to Section 1001.3. Florida statute reads, specific powers of the State Board of Education, intellectual freedom and viewpoint diversity assessment. For the purpose of this subsection, the term intellectual freedom and viewpoint diversity means the exposure of students, faculty, and staff to and the encouragement of the exploration of a variety of ideological and political perspectives. Shield means to limit students, faculties, and members or staff members' access to or observation of ideas and opinions they may find uncomfortable, unwelcomed, disagreeable, or offensive. The State Board of Education shall require each Florida college system institution to conduct an annual assessment of the intellectual freedom and viewpoint diversity at that institution. The State Board of Education shall select or create an objective, nonpartisan, and statistically valid survey to be used by each institution, which considers the extent to which competing ideas and perspectives are presented, and members of the college community, including students, faculty, and staff, feel free to express their beliefs and viewpoints on campuses and in the classroom. The State Board of Education shall annually compile and publish the assessment by September 1 of each year, beginning September 1 of 2022. The State Board of Education may adopt rules to implement this paragraph. That's kind of weird. I'm not sure if I'm comfortable with this. Section 2, subsection 13 is added to read the powers and duties of the board governors. For the purpose of this subsection, the term intellectual freedom and viewpoint diversity means exposure. Yes, we know that. Okay. Wait, is this just another repeat? Expressive activities protected under the First Amendment to the United States Constitution. And Article 1 of the state constitution includes, but are not limited to, any lawful oral written communication of ideas, including all form of peaceful assembly, protests, and speeches, distributing literature, carrying signs, circulating petitions. Notwithstanding S934.03 and subject to protections provided by the family. Hold on, folks. I'm sorry. Maybe this is better for you. This is better for all of us, I think. Hey, Memmius. Hey, Renardus. Spirefall. Hey. Marzi, how's it going? Coffee time at the good old Maxwell house. Sorry about that, folks. I was just intrigued by this. ADT, how we're feeling? I'm alright. I'm hanging in there. I think, like, I could with confidence say that definitely much better. However, I still feel a little bit on the weak side, so I'm hoping that that just kind of goes away. But I can say with confidence that it is a world of difference to what I was feeling when we were talking about that on Saturday, Renardus. I can say that it is definitely a world of difference. I'll say that. Flat Earth professors in Florida, true, because you need to expose everybody to different opinions in school. Notwithstanding 934.03, subject to the protections provided in Family Education Rights and Privacy Act, insert number codes here, a student may record video or audio of class lectures for their own personal education use in connection with a complaint to the public institution of higher education where the recording was made, or as evidence in or in preparation for a criminal or civil proceeding. A recorded lecture may not be published without the consent of the lecturer. Okay? Against a public institution of higher education based on the violation of individuals' expressive rights in a court of competent jurisdiction to obtain declaratory and injunction relief may be entitled to damages plus court costs and reasonable attorney fees, which may be paid from non-state funds against a person who has published video or audio recorded in a classroom in violation of paragraph 3. Yeah, so you can't you can't distribute a lesson that you record online is what I'm thinking here. Okay, so the idea that there's like some weird survey necessitates that is necessary is kind of weird to require that, to be compelled to require that. But I'm not sure that this says I'm not sure that this says you can secretly record professor. Okay, well, like, so what this is referencing is that, like, technically you can. Okay, so I think I see what they mean, because you can record your lessons in you can record your lessons to be used as evidence for any civil court, which means if you feel like you're being quote-unquote cancelled, you can kind of use that recording to go against your professor or whatever. That's what I'm thinking this is that's what I'm thinking that section that we were reading is about. If the survey describes an academic environment lacking in what the bill describes as a viewpoint diversity, the state university's board of governors and the state board of education, both of which are controlled by political appointees, could remedy the situation by forcing institutions to adopt codes of conduct. So, in other words, they are forcing they're forcing viewpoint equity is what they're enforcing. That's so illegal in my state. You can record if you get permission, so it's not just like you don't need permission, you don't need to notify them. Interesting. Yeah, so right, like the point being is like you can't just record stuff without people's permission, and I think the idea is that you can record stuff for the purposes of like having your own personal lesson, as long as you use it for personal use and you're not distributing that material. If I understand what this law was saying, you can record a lecture audio and video for their own personal education use in connection with a complaint to the public institution of higher education where the recording was made, or as evidence in preparation for a criminal or civil proceeding. Here's the problem with a recorded lecture may not be published without the consent of the lecturer. So yeah, you can't just you can't just publish these things like on YouTube or whatever, but however, you can use this against your university. Who does this help? I'm not sure. I'm not sure what problem this is intended to solve. Other than like I don't know. Like, what are they worried about? Isn't Florida like a Isn't Florida like a super red state anyways? The State Board of Education and the Board of Florida of Governors shall respectively require each Florida college system institution to adopt by rule and each state university to adopt by regulation codes of conduct and appropriate penalties for violation of rules and regulations by students to be administered by the institutions. In other words, we're going to tell you what to do. Again, this is really weird. This is really weird coming from like the party of like small government and like I don't get it. If I take a course expecting to learn pertinent information, not equity of viewpoints, aren't there better things to do? What about the whole polluted water? Yeah, I obviously. Gotta take the doggo for a walk? No problem. Not only that, if you don't do it, each Florida each Florida college system institution to. They even scratched out may. They amended it. They said to adopt by rule. So yeah, you're going to do this. And this is what you're supposed to do. This is the student. I believe that this is all the updated student code of conduct and how you're supposed to handle disciplinary notices and whatnot. July 1st, 2021. In addition to any other penalties that may be imposed, an individual may be denied admission or further registration, and the institution may invalidate academic credit for work done by a student. So if you mess up, part of what can happen to you is such penalties. Yeah. Yeah, very bizarre. I'm not sure if I'm completely on board with this. And I don't think that them enforcing this is going to give them the result they think it is. Additionally, the legislation would permit students to secretly record professors for the purpose of reporting them should they be under the impression their right to free speech is being invalidated. Right, that's what we saw there. That you can actually record with audio and video any type of lecture with the purposes of either using it for yourself or using it in a civil or criminal court proceeding. Only one Republican lawmaker voted against the bill in the Senate, where it passed 23-15 on Wednesday. Lawmakers in the state House passed the bill by a vote of 77-42. Barney Bishop, a lobbyist who argued in favor of the bill, told the Miami Herald he believes that the cards are stacked against conservative viewpoints in higher education, and he hopes HB 233 can tilt the system away from quote-unquote liberal ideology and also secularism. Oh boy. Yeah. That's weird. And furthermore, what is how is doing this in Florida going to tip the scale? Again, Florida is an incredibly ruby red state. If anything, the cards are stacked against. And the cards are stacked the other way, right? Florida went massively red. It sounds like this will make it so you can get your professor fired for disagreeing with you. Yeah, that's what it sounds like. Just saw this headline. Arkansas lawmaker files to teach creationism in science class. They're making it another go at it. Yikes. Yeah, they're definitely stacked against conservative viewpoints in education. There's a reason for that. Not back. Yeah, true. Not sure how you live in a state trying to kill you. Well, I'm glad that, a lot of, the stuff that's been happening, the environmental disaster, the environmental disaster happened, way up north in Florida. They said Trump didn't win. Yeah, these are alternative viewpoints, right? Are these the alternative viewpoints that we need to be talking about or enforcing, I should say? Bishop, who refused to name his clients, added, I want to know who the clients are. Why are lobbyists allowed to hide who they're lobbying for? That's kind of weird. That's kind of weird. If it's not such a big deal and you're trying to do good, why would you want to hide your clients? That's kind of weird, my friend. Added that he hopes the efforts will expand into K through 12 education as well. Rather than promote and protect free thought, opponents fear the bill would do the opposite and have a chilling effect on academic freedom. Kathy Boehm, a researcher with Florida Education Association, which opposes the bill, told the Herald the legislation opens the door to political interference in what should be an apolitical process. Right. I worry that this bill will force a fearful self-consciousness that is not as much about learning and debate as about appearances and playing to an outside audience. State Representative Geraldine Thompson, a Democrat retired college administrator, worried that the survey results could be used to justify mandatory curricula, effectively stifling free thought instead of protecting it. The survey will give someone a basis to say we need to be focusing on these ideas, these viewpoints more than others. Yeah, enforced equity. Yeah, hey, folks, you know what? This notion of creationism is really not that popular. It's not grounded. It's not really being talked about enough in science. I think we need to elevate. Like creationism, because it's not a well accepted viewpoint in academia. Like, what does this sound like something we need to be moving in the direction that we need to be moving in? Like forced ethnic studies? Yeah. Lobbying is so shady? Yeah, exactly. I used to think that, it needed to be illegal. However, this takes away the people's ability to lobby as well. I think my mom, as well, my things to moms demand action. Just take the bribes and money out, make it transparent, and add a watchdog. Yeah, I mean, like, you could make it so that it is heavily restricted or heavily regulated, so that like wealthy interests don't overshadow the voice of the people, right? Because if you could have like a situation where companies and all these like more wealthy lobbyists are on the same par as the people, then you might have the argument as to why we should like have that. But I think that it would need to be heavily regulated, if not outright like done away with. Yeah. Every time some of these clowns attempted to speak, I would run rings around them and tell them they can't stop, because if it's free speech infringement, true. Just get some of those people to go to college in the first place. True. What are we on about? Florida. That's what we're on about, right? Creational nukes. Florida. Oh, Florida. The survey will give someone a basis to say we need to be focusing on. Yeah. So like Smyrefall brought up the climate change thing. Yeah. I think that climate change denial isn't getting that much of viewpoints. We need to add more of that. Like, I don't know about that. I think that there's a reason for a scientific consensus, and I think that I don't know. Thompson noted the bill could also limit college administrators' ability to respond to disruptive events on campus if the KKK decided to march through one of Florida's historically black colleges and universities. For instance, HB 233 might limit how the college could legally respond. Florida legislation is one of roughly a dozen similar bills being considered in other states, according to post-secondary education bill tracking database maintained by the National Conference of State Legislatures. Yeah, I think that there's massive issues on this, and I think that it's what advertising?
Try to go to your happy place.
I think that stop it. Speaking of Florida, I think that enforcement of viewpoint, like equity of viewpoints, is going to lead to a less academic situation. HB 233, yes. I definitely think we should record some of these professors. There should be more transparency of what's being taught. Well, that's not what this bill is arguing about. Furthermore, you can easily get your professors. You can easily get your professors. Not curriculum. Syllabus, right? Yeah, one thing I don't know about US universities, but UK already have viewpoint diversity. It's an outrage over nothing. Yeah, like there's one thing about like saying that certain things, like viewpoint diversity, but there's another thing about enforcing, there's one thing about having viewpoint diversity, and there's another about enforcing viewpoint equity, where you could say something like creationism, which is obviously academically like not accepted, and all of a sudden like we have to teach that, in a setting of academia. Like, I don't know. Or like climate change denial, right? That is not an academically accepted viewpoint because it's not backed by the science. I mean, if you want to fabricate stuff in your head, recreational nukes, that's on you. You're doing like a lot of what ifs. So then give people free education. Now there's a thought. Ideally, everyone would see all the lectures for free. True. Hey, there you go. Yeah, public education should be free. Yeah, I see that, Spirefall, you're right. Hundreds participate in Million Maskless March in Fort Lauderdale. Nice. Cool. Hundreds of protesters took over a Fort Lauderdale boulevard for the Million Maskless March, which ended up being just a couple of hundred people. They couldn't even get 1,000. This weekend, the event took place Saturday and comes after face masks became mandatory 1 year ago. Many protesters carried American and Trump 2020 flags. Like, what is the point of, like, At this point, like, why? Why? Where is like the logic? Okay, first of all, he lost. Second of all, what year is it again? Oh yeah, not 2020. While marching and driving through the streets, several people who are saying they don't believe the CDC or trust the science, which has found that wearing a mask can lower the risk of contracting coronavirus. Yikes. Yeah, imagine like having forced viewpoint equity where we have to ignore the consensus of science to elevate a viewpoint that has been disputed and already debunked like this. You see the guy who argued in the WHO that masks are bad because they cause acne. Does science work by consensus? Wait. If we do a whole bunch of studies that say climate change is anthropogenic and the entire scientific community is overwhelmingly in the consensus, that is what we go by. Wait, yeah. If the health like community, the health professionals have multiple studies done from multiple different healthcare people, and there is a consensus that masks are good, yeah, that's how that works. Until proven otherwise, that is what is the accepted consensus. Okay, you know what? Listen. Alright, so if this is like the most anti-science and anti-intellectual statement I've ever seen. Have you read all the studies by the healthcare people? Hey, listen, how about you like take a second, maybe get like educated or something? Fuck out of here. Yeah, so if 99% of scientists say that like masks are good, we should definitely listen to the 1% who are like screeching about something else. Right. They scientists record their experiment, not their opinions. Exactly. Like, what are you talking about? That's how science works. If the majority of scientists say that masks work and masks are effective at preventing the spread of COVID, that is the accepted consensus and we should follow it until new data proves otherwise. Nah, man, I saw a YouTube video. Yeah, hey, listen, folks. That's it. That's how you beat it. I watched a couple of YouTube videos. I'm an expert now. Hey, Memiets, how's it going? Don't worry. They can come back if they have, like, something else to say. So, of course, this happens in Florida. The Million Maskless March. That only resulted in a couple of hundred people. Which is sure that... I'm sure that... I'm sure that we're gonna see the numbers in a couple of weeks. Holistic Field, hey! Yeah, exactly. Source? Trust me, bro. Hey, at least it's not Michigan. They aren't in a good spot. Yeah, true. 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 Half of those maskless people are probably vaccinated, so they believe that COVID is real. They're just throwing a tantrum about wearing a thin cloth over their face. Yeah, so like I never understood that. The least you can do is follow like the science, and the least that you can do to try to end this, if you're really interested in just getting past this nightmare, is do your part. Wear your mask, social distancing, try to stay home, wash your hands, get vaccinated when it opens up for you. These are the most simplest thing that you can do, right? I mean, this is no bearing on you on your person whatsoever, right? It is not a burden for you to wear a mask. It is not a burden for you to try to be for you to try to do social distancing. It is not a burden for you to try to do your part to get vaccinated. Science says masks are useless. Source? The maskless moron match. Yeah, moron march. Yeah, there you go. That's not what science says. Wait. COVID-19 inhalants travel through masks? Source? Do you mean like what? Does that even make sense? Hey folks, listen buddy, I'm not gonna allow that here because I just can't have like anti-science stuff, especially during this time. I just can't allow that. Maybe come back and figure it out. I just can't do the anti-science. Not in this moment, okay? I'm not gonna sit here and argue like facts. I'm not gonna sit here and argue if the earth is flat, okay? I'm not gonna sit and argue that the earth is round, I should say, sorry. I'm not gonna sit here and argue objective facts. And that to me doesn't even make sense. I just found out that the earth is flat. This changes everything. True. No, but for real though, I'm not here to I'm not here to entertain this. It's been a year already, like duh. Yeah, I mean, like the consensus is the masks do prevent COVID from spreading. That's the whole point of you having the mask in the first place. Hey, Dr. Dragon Rider. We got 2 dabs. All right, folks. 1 dab. 2 dabs. Hey, Jesse James. How's it going? Jesse James with a dab. How's everybody doing? How are you doing, Heat? I hope you're doing alright. Yeah, I do need a bookshelf, Spirefall, so that's very good news. Right, science says X, but so they believe in science, but they won't read anything from a scientific source. True. What? I like bookshelves. I need a bookshelf. I need an extra bookshelf. I have a lot of books. And I've been reading a lot of books. Correct, Dr. Dragon Rider. That's why it's like... You can have, like... You can argue different, like... different politics and stuff like that, but... when it comes down to, like, objective facts... I don't think it's responsible to, unless there's some like wild, massive, like about face of the scientific community that they did a new study and they all were like, holy crap, we were wrong. This is the new data. Then I will change my mind. CDC declared a record low for seasonal flu because of the mask wearing. True, Exeter. Yes, this is very true. I will use any excuse to wear a mask anyway. Hey, there you go. Whatever it takes, Spirefall. There you go. There are other reasons. Yeah, hey, listen. If we have to go, like... if we have to appeal to, like, hey, listen, operational security, we don't want the government to know who you are. Mask up. Operational security, mask up. There you go. I'm vaccinated. Everyone I love is vaccinated. And I'll continue with my mask. They can choose an event if they want to. Yeah, so, yeah, I mean, even if you are vaccinated, I think that it's, like, just the polite and appropriate thing to do. On that topic, this summer is going to be Spice City. You think so? Are the tea leaves? Are the tea leaves giving you some type of readings there, Spirefall? Oh, don't tell me that, Spirefall. Super hot? Oh man, I hope not. The tea leaves are spinning like crazy. Yikes. Well... so far, you've been pretty accurate in, like, the way you've been talking about stuff, so... I mean... all I can say is I just hope you're wrong. I'm rather old and vulnerable to illnesses, so therefore I'm gonna just mask up for the rest of my life. Yeah, that's not even, like, that's probably a good, like, health kind of thing. I mean, like, Japan does that regardless. I went crazy and bought so many last year. I have a couple of them, and I have a pack of the, surgical disposable masks, and I have a pack of the KN95 masks, so we're good. Hoping won't help you. No, but at least I can always want the better outcomes. But I do trust your tea leaves when you say that something's afoot. So far they've been pretty accurate, I think. So I'm gonna say that you're probably right. Yeah, that's also a good lesson, Exeter, right? These, like, if anything, masks have taught us that maybe, maybe this should be like a new cultural norm so that we can reduce the amount of flu, colds, and other respiratory illnesses, yeah? Legally acquired masks. My great friend sent me 50 KN95 masks. Nice. Chapter alone put me in bed for a week. Yikes. Yikes. Got the hookup. Nice. Very nice. New Mexico bans qualified immunity for all government workers, including the police. In a landmark line signed today, In a landmark law signed today, New Mexico barred all government employees from using qualified immunity as a legal defense in state court and created a new way to challenge government agencies that violate constitutional rights. By making it much easier for victims of police violence and other government abuses to sue for damages, the New Mexico Civil Rights Act marks as one of the most sweeping police reform bills passed in the aftermath of the tragic killing of George Floyd. Created by the U.S. Supreme Court nearly 4 decades ago and found nowhere in the Constitution or relevant federal law, qualified immunity lets government officials escape legal liability for violating someone's constitutional rights unless those rights were clearly established. Yeah, like the issue is like with qualified immunity is that there's like a constant catch-22 that it clearly was never resolved. Consider James McGarry, who's wrestled to the ground in his own hometown in Lincoln County. New Mexico federal judge ruled that the officer responsible used excessive force in part because McGarry posed no immediate threat. Nevertheless, the judge, with reluctance, granted qualified immunity because McGarry's rights were not clearly established, and a nigh identical case must exist for the law to be clearly established. Right, which is there in the catch-22 of the problem with qualified immunity. Here's to having a mask to keep you healthy. True. I'm not vaccinated, but my spouse is halfway. Awesome, Heat. Yeah, so therein lies the problem with qualified immunity. That definitely has to go, or rewritten. Since qualified immunity is a federal doctrine, it can only be fully abolished by Congress or the Supreme Court. But the state and local lawmakers can still act to protect everyone's constitutional rights. Enter the Mexico Civil Rights Act. Under HB 4, if a state or local government employee infringes on someone's rights within their scope of employment, the victim can sue the government employer for damages under the state constitution. Crucially, this new cause of action specifically bans qualified immunity as a legal defense. Yeah, so like I think that as always, the cops should always be they should be held to a higher standard, yeah? So, if you mess up, there should be ways of correcting that. If you mess up, there should be ways of obtaining damages. If you mess up in a manner that results in a clear demonstration of violating someone's rights or excessive force to the point where you cause harm, then you shouldn't be a police officer. I mean, yeah. In other words, agencies are held vicariously liable for the actions of their employees, while the individual government workers are not at risk of personal liability. Notably, indemnification was already a long-standing practice in the law of enchantment. A 2014 study by UCLA law professor Joanna Schwartz found that lawsuits against the Albuquerque Police Department led to nearly $14 million paid out in civil rights settlements and judgments. Officers didn't contribute a single cent. HB 4 was supported by an ideologically diverse coalition, including the founders of Ben & Jerry, the Institute for Justice, the Innocence Project, the National Police Accountability Project, and the local chapters of the ACLU and Americans for Prosperity. To get HB 4 across the finish line, the Act sponsors amended it to make few concessions to municipalities. The law has a liability cap of $2 million, exempts certain infrastructure and water projects, and allows but doesn't require courts to award attorney fees to prevailing plaintiffs. While the Act generally has a 3-year statute of limitations, those suing a law enforcement agency must provide the agency with written notice stating the time, place, and circumstance of the loss or injury within 1 year of the incident. Even with those compromises, opponents of the bill still claimed it would lead to a tidal wave of costly litigation, but as the New Mexico Civil Rights Commission astutely observed, the cost of protecting the rights of New Mexicans involves values fundamentally different from other budget questions the legislature faces. Without a legal remedy to vindicate the rights, the legislature is effectively forcing those harmed by government misconduct to bear the cost for the state or responsible local government. Yeah, so here's the thing, like, Aren't there already punishments and penalties for frivolous litigation? I mean, if you like, and correct me if I'm wrong, if you deploy frivolous lawsuits, there are consequences for that. There are consequences for frivolous lawsuits. So I'm not sure what the argument is to lead in terms of like leading to a tidal wave of costly litigation. I mean, you're welcome to try to sue anybody for whatever. However, if you're just doing frivolous lawsuits and waste time and resources, you could be punished for that by being responsible for court fees and all this other stuff. And if you get countersued and lose, that's even worse for you. Such is the case of what's happening. Okay, let's use this example. Here we go. The Dominion cases, right? The Dominion cases where Sidney Powell is had mounted, Sidney Powell and a few others mounted frivolous lawsuit after frivolous lawsuit after frivolous lawsuit after frivolous lawsuit. Well, now here's the consequences of that, right? She's now potentially going to be looking at a 1 billion dollar counter lawsuit. I mean, and you best believe those lawsuits, if Sidney Powell loses, are going to involve all types of court fees and stuff that she was liable for. So yeah, you can't just do frivolous lawsuits and not expect consequences, I imagine. Like, in my head, I think that's how that works. I'm disappointed that my state decided to dismiss the qualified immunity issue. Moderate Dems rule Nevada. Oof. Yeah, wasn't that, in Nevada, wasn't that the guy who got big mad? Who got big mad? That he got so big mad that he changed his, Republican because, the DSA won their elections. In response to some of the commentary surrounding this measure, I will say this is not an anti-police bill, said Governor Michelle Lujan Grisham in a statement. The bill does not endanger any first responder or public servant so long as they conduct themselves professionally within the bounds of our Constitution and with a deep and active respect for our sacred rights as it guarantees all of us as New Mexicans. True. So that's like the basis, that's the most basic of basic thing that we can ask of any type of public government official, whether it be the police, whether it be first responders, whether it be politicians, anybody who is a quote-unquote public servant, that is a state employee or whatnot, who engages with the public, has at the very basic needs to, especially if they work within these fields like like EMTs, police, politicians, they need to have a deep and active respect for rights. And no one is above that. No one is above that. Yes, the mayor of North Las Vegas. Thank you, Jesse James. Depends on the judge. I have no idea. Thanks to HB4, New Mexico is now at the forefront of a growing trend to hold government officials accountable. Yeah, that's the whole idea of it. That is exactly the whole idea of it, right? And let's be very clear. This isn't just against police, okay? If my logic is correct, this should be expanded to politicians too. If you're like if you're trying to do, rules and laws that violate people's rights, I think that you should be held accountable. I mean, This is not just for police. Last June, Colorado became the first state to pass legislation that explicitly bans qualified immunity as a defense, while law enforcement lobbyists warned that Colorado's reform would lead to mass resignations. That hasn't really come to fruition. Yeah, I mean, why would it? Police, like, that's a job, dude. It's a job. Thanks for the shout out, of course. According to Denver Post, at least 1,756 Colorado peace officers left their departments in 2020, which is fewer than the 2,061 separations recorded in 2019 and the 2,050 recorded in 2018. So it actually decreased the amount of resignations. Interesting. Very interesting. Over the past year, Connecticut, Massachusetts, New York have also approved bills limiting qualified immunity, though there are none as broad as the reforms in Colorado or New Mexico. Massachusetts, for instance, only revokes qualified immunity for police officers who have been decertified. The New York City ordinance is only limited to unreasonable searches and seizures, including aims of excessive force. But infringing other constitutional protections like the right to free speech, assembly, or equal protection remain without a remedy. Colorado's law is broader since it covers any and all violations of the Colorado Bill of Rights and only authorizes civil lawsuits against law enforcement officers. By comparison, the New Mexico Civil Rights Act covers violations of the New Mexico Bill of Rights and eliminates qualified immunity across the board for all civil servants, not just cops. Yeah, I think that's fair. I think that it should be across the board, and including politicians. Okay, that should be across the board and including politicians. Plain and simple. John Lee flipped? What does that mean, Jesse? Was that the mayor? It would help if becoming a cop was more than a one-semester course. True, I agree with you, Hambalus. I agree. Uni accommodation still not getting back to me. I might have to be a hobo student. Yikes, I'm sorry to hear that, Spirefall. Yikes. Hey Zoo, good morning. Good morning, morning. Yeah, John Lee, was that the Nevada guy? For too long, qualified immunity has denied victims a remedy for violations of their constitutional rights, said the Institute of Justice attorney Keith Neely, who submitted testimony in favor of the New Mexico bill. With the governor's signature, New Mexico has made enormous strides towards holding law enforcement officers and other government employees accountable. Yeah. Across the board, okay? Which is, you know what? If you're like anti big government, isn't this like the perfect law? If you're anti big government and you don't want like government stepping on people's rights, this is the law for you then. I mean, yeah. Simple as that. If you're anti big government and you want to make sure that there's accountability, not just for, law enforcement officers, but other government employees, I would say up to and including politicians, then you should be in favor of this law. I would think. I struggle with anarchy. I've been doing a bit of a deep dive, and it's complicated as hell. Yeah. The thing with anarchy or anarchist theory, the actual anarchist theory, I think that there are valid points to anarchy, in terms of like power should always be held accountable. Power should always be held accountable. I'm sorry, Memo for the record. Here, you know what? How about this? I got you, Memo. Give me a second. Alright, now try it. There we go. You see, Heat? I see you. There's not really a right or wrong. Hey, Lastu. I promise I won't spam links that are bad for TOS. Yeah, I trust you, Memo. I see you in Touring News' chat. You're a moderator for Touring News. I trust you. And police qualified immunity, force their unions to pay jury awards to victims, and this will reduce taxes as taxpayers no longer have to pay for cop crimes. In narrator voice, he's going to spam links that break TOS. Please go follow Lost2 if you haven't already. You beat me to it. Yeah, so again, like the point of like the thing about anarchist theory, I think that is valid, and I think that should be extracted from that is their skepticism. Jeez, I'm not here today. Sorry, folks. Skepticism of hierarchies, and they always question power, which I think is a fair critique, right? Because when you have like a government, a state, or whatnot, there needs to be heavy checks on power. That's just the way it is. I think that they are correct. There's no external hierarchy enforcing your internal moral code. Correct. Force cops and judges to get malpractice insurance. That could be a thing. I don't know. I still feel like that's not like, because then they can shove the responsibility. They can shrug off the responsibility. Like, I got insurance. Skepta do a nicety. Yeah, there you go. Perfect. Nailed it. Maybe I could be sold on that, Mr. Mayhem. I don't know. So to piggyback off that, Maryland. Maryland becomes the first state to repeal Police Bill of Rights, overriding the Hogan veto. Maryland's Democratic-controlled... I don't like the framing of that, but okay. Democrat-controlled legislature on Saturday moved to pass a sweeping reform package that repealed the state's Police Bill of Rights, becoming the first state in the nation to do so and overriding Republican Governor Larry Hogan's veto in the process. The state Police Bill of Rights covered due process for officers accused of misconduct. Advocates for repeal have it called one of the most extreme in the nation. The new law will also give more oversight power to civilians. Again, the idea being that if you're a police officer, you're held to a higher standard. And I'm not understanding what, like, if you get accused for misconduct, like, you have a process already. Another bill, one of the bills Hogan vetoed, requires certain no-knock warrants to be approved by both the supervisor and the state's attorney and be between 8 a.m. to 7 p.m. bearing exigent circumstances. Yeah, no-knock warrants, I'm against. One of the new laws will also require officers to use force only if it is necessary and proportional. But isn't that like the standard? Like, that is the basic. This is how it should be. I don't know, like, why that needs to be codified in, like. Hey, Wiz, speaking of. If they can't get insurance, they can't be civil employees. Yeah, but I still feel like if they can, it just basically says like, oh well, it's okay, my insurance will pay for it. I don't know. Now, if you guys want to talk a little bit more anarchist theory, I suggest you hit up Wizards. If you want to talk about more anarchist theory and have more detailed questions, I would ask Wizard. Here in Minnesota, Democrats try to impose police reform by legislation. Republicans balked. Thus, taxpayers will have to pay for police crimes. Yeah. Yeah, see, like, I think that, you know, there could be a way of, like, alleviating that, Exeter. We can change that. I still think that there has to be a way, like, to make sure that governmental officials are held to account. Public servants, civil servants are held to account. They're held to a high standard because their job is supposedly to the public, right? Supposedly. So, if so, you need to conduct yourself accordingly. The move for a win of police reform advocates comes amid a national reckoning with policing after the death of George Floyd, a black man at the hands of a Minneapolis police officer last year. Many states have considered police reform in the wake of Floyd's death. True. Maryland is leading the country in transforming our broken policing system. Maryland House Delegate Speaker Adriana Jones, a Democrat, wrote in a tweet Saturday, "Now, for the first time in our nation's history, the rights of officers will not be held above the rights of individuals, and policing in Maryland will be transparent and citizen." I'm sorry, guys. Hold on. My work computer is like messing up here. Okay. Policing will be transparent and citizen-centered. Now, so I agree with like with the idea. I agree with the idea that things in government and a healthy functioning democracy, a more democratic system, a healthy functioning democracy has strong, inclusive, meaning more people participate in the electoral process. Strong meaning checks and balances. Inclusive meaning meaning the majority of the population is engaged in some way or shape or form in politics, or not politics, but the system. Transparent, meaning things that happen in your government, things that happen in this system need to be open, okay? That's how you keep a healthy democracy. Best way to ensure state officials don't abuse authority is to not have positions of authority. Yeah, but like there's always going to be a level of some type of necessity for delegation of stuff, right? In order for us to have like a society that's large, like you know, the US is huge. I mean, unless you really break it down to the point where there's like no federal oversight and only like local municipalities, but that's kind of like, I don't know how that would work out. There still needs to be some type of like delegation of responsibilities. What happens when you get into too many car wrecks, you ensure jobs? Yeah, like I said, I might be able to be sold on that, Mr. Mayhem. I might be able to. Minnesota's had to pay $74 million for police crimes, with the GOP still blame Democrats for tax increases. Yeah, if that's the case, yeah, if that, like, if we're at the point where we're getting our taxes increased because we're paying out civil penalties for police officers, yikes. Miss Nick says, how's it going? Expertise is not authority. I can trust nerds in lab coats about science without giving them a police baton. Yeah, but like, isn't that authority in and of itself? Like, this is the scientific consensus. That's authority. Of course, it's not at the end of a police baton, but it is authority. I don't know. Maybe that's just like, maybe that's just pedantic, but morning. Maryland first instituted its bill of... Oh, typo. Typo, you messed up, Politico. Not very professional of you. Not very professional. Oh. Maryland first instituted its Bill of Rights in 1974, and about 20 states have since adopted similar measures. Hogan said that he had to veto the bills to keep Marylanders safe. These bills would undermine the goal, and I believe we're building transparent and accountable and effective law enforcement institutions, and instead further erode police morale, community relationships, and public confidence. They will result in great damage to police recruitment and retention, posing significant risk to public safety throughout our state. Now, I don't know. I don't know if that's necessarily the case in maybe it's different in Maryland. Maybe it's not the same in Maryland, but in other states, it's been shown that's like has no effect on like the level of resignations of police officers. No, expertise is an authority. Authority is enforced. Expertise is given. Right. Okay. It goes back to the anarchist idea of freedom of association. Gotcha. But like, you still have people who go up against expertise even when it's like right in their face. So there seems to be always like a necessity for some type of like, of course it can be limited in scope, it could be strong, inclusive, transparent, and democratic, but there always seems to be like some type of federal system that comes in when necessary, or should come in when necessary. I don't know. It's the illest. Anarchist Laboratory, Sean, how's it going? Because like, I'll read a bit more about like mutual aid and Kropotkin, Because I've read The Conquest of Bread, but I think that I think that nevertheless, the anarchist critique of hierarchies and skepticism of power is incredibly important. It seems like you're stuck in capitalist realism and makes you unable to consider alternatives. Oh, I do consider alternatives. I'm more of I'm more of a vehicle of attempting to be like, hey, I need people to question what's happening here. I need people to question the system. I need people to understand that we can do better. I need people to understand that, you know, if people's material conditions are met, I think that we could have a better society. I'd recommend Graeber over Kropotkin. Bookchin, but in my opinion, he's pretty anarchist light. Okay. I mean, all of this, I have like so many books to still go through. Alio with the 12 biddies, thank you. Miss Nixa, thank you for the follow. Yeah, again, I never did follow you. No problem. Hey, listen, I'm just glad you're here. Randy's, how's it going? Morning. Hello. Yeah, see, this is the thing with like anarchists. You speak their name and they appear in chat to drop some recommendations. Yeah, I'm absolutely open to reading because I love reading, and I think that I still have a lot more books to go through. I think one of the more exciting ones is manufacturing consent. I need to get through that. I need to get through that. My name has book in it, but in it I didn't have a chance to not be a theory nerd. Hey, that's why I refer people if they want a bit more details in terms of like anarchist critique or anarchist theory. To go hit that follow button. Let's see a little VIP badge. Folks, go show Wiz some love, alright? And ask questions. Manufacturing consent is okay, but to be honest, you could probably get away with just watching the documentary rather than read the book. It takes more time. Got you. Mark Fisher. Okay, so I have a few more recommendations to add to the list. I'd only say read the book if you're doing a deep dive into media framing analysis. Yeah, I mean, like, I think that is incredibly important. I think pertinent, especially today, yeah? Especially considering what I do, right? I think that's pretty pertinent. I was happy to see the Virginia police officer that sprayed the Army lieutenant was now fired. No petitions either. I mean, yeah, from what I saw, that was pretty yikesy. If you want something that isn't a dusty asshole, check out As We Have Always Done by Leanne Simpson. She's an indigenous author. Okay. There we go. Hold on. I need to write some of these. I need to, like, get a notepad up and write some of these down. Notepad. As We Have Always Done. Leanne Simpson. We had another one that seemed pretty cool. Mark Fisher. Capitalist Realism. Mark Fisher. I think there was another one. Bookchin. Bookchin. Graber. Okay, so I need to write some of these guys down. Cool. Yeah, these are the good things. Absolutely. Do things like organizing community gardening. Yeah. Stuff like that is fine. I'll read just about everything. Yeah, true. Same. There's another book called Beyond Hypocrisy, which is written by Edward Herman, who co-wrote Manufacturing Consent. The problem with a lot of media analysis stuff is that the big famous texts have aged quite quickly as media evolves. Got you. I mean, I think that's still like the core of like manufacturing consent is kind of like very pertinent. Beyond Hypocrisy. Edward Herman. Oops. Okay. Yeah, so I've got another extra homework. But it's still good if you aren't an 80s media nerd. I'm completely fine with that. Yeah, so I got a few I got a few more homeworks to do. I did study on the Gulf War and the NYT a few years ago and had to get my own date on it as there was nothing really available. Yikes. I really like the idea of mutual aid in praxis. I love the idea and the concept. Like, this is why I kind of like have this is where like I get points to the kind of anarchist theories where they value the fact of they value like working together and things like that. I think that is incredibly important. I think that people need to understand that society is better when we work together for the better of society, right? And if you're interested in making society better, and you're interested in elevating individuals, and you're interested in real, interested in making like real change for individuals and giving them the best opportunity, then that has to be through society, right? How about making sure that people have food, housing, education, and healthcare to give everybody the opportunity to be their best self. I just read them at my own pace. True. Yes, I've heard that book. Prison's Obsolete. Yes. Yeah, that's exactly correct. Anarchist Laboratory. I just kind of read them as I can. Isn't just society when better when we work together? It's that the good things about our society come from people working together despite of institutional pressures not to. Yeah, I mean, again, I agree with like the fact that people do create and the good things about society come from people working together despite institutional pressures. Yeah, they damn near know me by name at the bookstore. Nice. Ever since the pandemic started, and ever since we're essentially in quarantine because like they sent us home and we've been working from home, I've really gotten the opportunity to read a lot of books. Is that mostly media manipulation comes in two forms, quantitative and qualitative. So it's like about the frequency of how things are discussed, but also in the way they are discussed. True. My own data seems to suggest that both major newspapers had very clear frameworks which they used, and the NYT, with the NYT being worse for it. Yikes. With the New York Times being worse for it. Yikes. Yeah, assuming you're in city, urban gardening might be a good start. I can recommend some easy starter plants. Yeah, I've been like doing baby steps in terms of like gardening and stuff. I even have a kitty that roams the store, scares the crap out of you from time to time. Aw, but that's so cool. That's so cool. It's not a goal, it's an action. Okay. Interesting. Okay. I think I like that better. It's not isn't a goal, it's an action. Okay. Okay. Yes, I believe we've seen this, Memmius. It goes everywhere and takes out everything. And you get mint. Oh yeah. I know Mayor's emotes. I believe, as somebody posted in chat, I believe that police officer was fired. Sorry folks, just give me a second. I'm making sure that everything is good here with my work computer. Ah. No excuses. There was no excuse for this officer's action, none at all. Rabbit is great. Drew. Miss Marzi. Which is Motes 3D, that's cool. Okay. That works too. Alright, maybe because there's no excuse for officers' existence in our society. Well, I mean, like, right now, I don't think we can necessarily get away with that. But, you know, I at this point, because we are where we are, I think that, again, the things that we can do right now involve making sure that there's accountability and that there's standards and that people's rights aren't violated. I mean, like, that's just basic right now. I mean, if there becomes a situation where society changes, evolves, moves, I mean, heck, we can even make steps in the direction of, first of all, stopping private prisons. Second of all, ending the drug war. Third of all, moving to a rehabilitative justice system. I mean, yeah, we make strides in that direction, Wiz. Yeah, so I don't know about Maryland, but I don't think that, I mean, unless there's like serious, like, data saying otherwise, I'm not sure that this will result in making sure that people are held to account. I don't believe that that's necessarily going to create great damage in police recruitment and retention. I just don't see the data for it. Alright, folks. I'm going to take a quick break, and we will be right back. I'm going to take a second to show for myself. If, might turn off some sociopaths, but that's good. Yeah, exactly. You need to hold people accountable so that doesn't happen, Heat. What was I gonna say? Yeah, so I'm gonna take a second to show for myself. If Sparrowhawk TV is here, please, say hello, and I can either complete that mandolin rift or refund the channel points. So in the meantime, I'm gonna take a quick break and a second to show for myself. Folks, if you enjoyed the channel, make sure you hit that follow button and make sure you hit that subscribe button on YouTube. It really does help us out. We appreciate all of you guys hanging out here. You guys are what makes this channel grow. And if you do have the ability to support the channel, there are many different ways of doing it. You can subscribe, biddies, donos, merch, all of that awesome stuff. There are many different ways of supporting the channel. I appreciate all of you guys being here. Thank you guys. Did I just lose sound, or is ADT muted? I don't think I'm muted. I hope I'm not. Am I? Okay, cool. Thank you, Heat. Anybody else lost sound? No. Okay. I will be right back, folks. Thank you so much. Yeah, Twitch is wonky like that. I'll be right back, folks. The Snickers ad make me want to burn something down. Mobile is a bully. True. I'll roll the doobie and see what happens. Okay, so I think that should be okay, yeah? Okay. So for a second there, if you guys saw on the Discord, there was a nationwide apparently attempt to organize within these groups, and there have been these ads are incredibly frustrating. There have been several attempts throughout the country to organize a White Lives Matter protest, I guess, or demonstration, and it turned out that because I was gonna talk about it, but I it's really like I was gonna talk about it because I felt like, oh man, this is gonna be definitely something big. I was like, maybe just because of the rhetoric, I was like, oh no, this is gonna be some like Charlottesville stuff. But it turned out to be just a couple of people. They even other news outlets reported on it. It was hilariously low. Oh yeah, that's to somebody who pointed that out in chat. True. Embarrassingly low numbers. And yeah, I have audio everywhere, but not here. I'm gonna take another toke. Anarchist and Antifa may be the best at operational security on the left. I bet. Sounds like a good way to get bonked. Wait, what? I've heard about that, Wiz. I thought that was kind of a meme, to be honest. Oh. What an absolute garbage dumpster fire. So, yeah. This is excellent news. A 14-person private Telegram channel. Oh yeah, hey guys, this event should be 110% optics. No swastikas. Hey guys, listen, leave the swastikas and the leave the swastikas and Confederate flags at home, guys. Now it's real? Phew. Just, hey, guys, just leave the bands at home. Leave the flags at home to not put off people. That puts normies off. They can't do it. They can't do it. Fix good to go. Nice. I live in an area, and that is a sea of Trump supporters. Oh. Oof. Another admin, this is an administrator within the group chat, called Your Fuhrer, chimed in with concerns about some violent content that was being distributed in rally organization channels. Public shitposting already gives harmful appeal, but admittedly, sending gore to other viewers is going to turn off any person close to joining. Jesus Christ. Okay, that was weird. I'm sure they're all planning something dumb. Yeah, and they failed. That's why I didn't like want to stress too much on this story, because they failed. Yikes. Disputes broke out between a purported Proud Boy leader from Michigan and another admin about the fact that the Proud Boys chairman, Enrique Tarrio, is not white. Another user with the SS, I don't know if it's lightning bolts, it's kind of like an insignia. In their screen name urged peace. If you care for our people and don't want us to die, then stop. What? Just to give you a backdrop as to what's going on, behind the scenes look, yeah? And this is screenshots, actual screenshots, not just... This is actual receipts. Quote, look, we all come from different political groups and some from without one, despite if a group was formerly not pro-white. What? Not pro-white. If there are leaders in it who are changing it to being more pro-white, that is progress. Of course, there are going to be skeptics in any change in a non-explicitly pro-white group, and that's fine. Keep it civil and let leaders try to mold it into something better to demonstrate the change to us. Yeah. They're talking about the Proud Boys, folks. I actually seen someone with the cojones to have a couple of 3% stickers in their truck here. Some has a bit of an ableist history. I mean... I think that there are other problematic words. But, I don't know. Coming from the Fed. So what, they're like accusing this guy of being a Fed? How paranoid are these people? The Michigan Proud Boy drafted a statement to distribute to various Telegram channels. Remember, if you wish to be taken legitimately and professionally, behave accordingly. It shouldn't have to be said, but if your profile picture has swastikas, iron crosses, or any symbols that is commonly associated with the National Socialist movement, consider removing them. I mean... But yeah, I'm sure, you know, the Proud Boys are just a drinking club with a patriotism problem, yeah? Comes from thinking deaf people aren't smart? Yikes. Well, to be very clear, saying it's the worst you can use, but there are others in making your vocab more inclusive. They get infiltrated constantly, so they Fed jacket each other all the time. How paranoid, like, Jesus. I see your point, Wiz. But then he got self-conscious. God, this sounds like left-wing sensitivity bullshit drivel. Yeah, telling your folks, which are totally not a political which are totally not a political far right group, um, to leave the swastikas and iron crosses and other symbols out of things is left-wing sensitivity bullshit drivel. I mean, okay. Very interesting view into the backroom kind of talks that happen. Gotcha, Tavarian LSR. Imagine in your backroom talks with, like, supposedly these were organizers. In other words, these are supposed leaders, right? They have to tell their folks to leave the swastikas at home, folks. We can bring we can put them on when we have enough people with us, okay? Just leave them at home for now. Like, what? Very, very, very um telling. No, this isn't a joke. This isn't a joke. Um this is a Proud Boy leader in Michigan telling his folks or his Telegram channels that, hey, listen, if your profile has swastikas, iron crosses, or any other symbols that is commonly associated with Nazis or National Socialist movement, consider removing them. It doesn't look good. Yeah, no kidding. But the fact that you have to mention this tells me that that's kind of a problem within your movement, don't you think? Just saying. I prefer they tattoo it in their foreheads. Some do. But my point being is, like, this is how this is how, so I can avoid this is how this is what's going on behind the scenes. So I think that that's the value of going over this. This is what's happening behind the scenes, right? And of course, the actual demonstrations and the actual things that happened on the ground, there was, like, barely barely a couple of people showed up. Barely a couple of people showed up, which is, like, hilarious. But the point being is, this is what happens in behind the scenes. Kind of scary stuff, yeah? Is it a problem if it's an intentional part of their movement? It's not a bug, but it's a feature. Oh yeah, for sure. Did the music hit 86th? No, it's just very low, I think. Sometimes I think I put it intentionally very low. So it should be playing in the background. Good, they're eating each other. Well, they're not known for being coherent. But um the point being, this is what happens, right? The Telegram channel of the WLM, White Lives Matter admins, rapidly shrunk in numbers over the course of about a week. The two left arguments got too heated. 3 more were expelled after they were accused of being moles or Antifa spies. Um, The Proud Boy partly blamed the fact that the leader of the admin group insisted on participants using real screen names instead of just being anonymous, a rule designed to keep out infiltrators. I'm gonna take a day or so to chill and step back, consider the future and vetting. Ah. Incredible. Yeah, now the music is gone. Let me bring that back up. Embarrassing. Yeah. I know how badly they cooperate from first-hand observation. Yeah, I mean, there's like literal screenshots. That's right, Memo. Alright, folks. It's time. It's Gab mail time. Right, Race Trader. The classic smear. Over the course of 5 years, Gab has been attacked and smeared by many different Jewish groups, including the ADL for simply defending free speech online. Now today, ADL is trying to cancel Tucker Carlson for daring to speak the truth about the reality of demographic replacement that is being absolutely and unequivocally going on in the West. Whew. No. That's so no. No. Not even remotely. Not even remotely true. That is so many dog whistles, and we're not even a paragraph in, folks. Time to mold? Oh yes. Honestly, I do feel like this guy is losing it in real time, and we're just here watching it. I really do think that this guy is losing it in real time, and we're just going through it. These are not hateful statements. They are objective facts that can no longer be ignored. No. The ADL wants the government to throw me in jail. What? Let's see what their source is. No. So, the article he posts for, his source is because, part of the organization for the January 6th, and this should apply across the board too, looking at you, Facebook, looking at you, that allowed this to organize, you know? Not because of free speech, okay? It's not because of free speech. What is this email? Oh, okay, so we have like segments where we get these weird emails from the CEO of Gab, because I have a Gab account. And they have been delivering just these gold nuggets of content. And I believe that what we're actually seeing here is quite possibly this guy's unhinging this just unfurl in real time. Texas Governor Abbott sat in front of an Israeli flag with a Jewish state representative and called Gab an anti-Semitic platform. Yikes. One, I don't think I need to go over that that dog whistle. Two, there's a plethora of evidence, screenshots, usernames that exist on Gab that consistently, without any impunity, consistently spread anti-Semitic stuff, and including even right under Torba's posts. Right under Torba's posts. I mean, I don't really want to go to the website, but I don't want to go to the website because I'm not about to show some TOS, but this is common in that platform. You see that username, Arab Social Nationalist? I've seen that username multiple times, spreading nonsense like this. Message deleted? No. Is it? Don't raise the streamer. Wait, nothing got deleted, did it? That's weird. Right. That's been happening to me a while. That's been happening to me a lot. How long are we going to have this on screen? Sorry, I'm trying to catch up with chat. That's been happening to a lot. Nazis did some gold medal worthy mental gymnastics to prove that Jesus was white. True. That's weird. Okay. I'm gonna check the mod, auto mod settings. Anyways, the point being is it 100% is an anti-Semitic platform. At least it's not moderated in any way, shape, or form. This week, the American Jewish Congress is attacking Gab and Representative Marjorie Taylor Greene with a smear campaign. When I countered their smear campaign with facts, they played the victim and claimed that I was attacking them. Yeah, Marjorie Taylor Greene, the representative elected member to Congress, who said that the California wildfires were created by, Jewish space lasers. Yeah. Marjorie Taylor Greene, who said Sandy Hook didn't happen. Marjorie Taylor Greene, who has been known for spreading conspiracy theories. Yeah, it's probably in the auto mod because exactly that. Then he had to change what word he used and when they blocked it. Yes, it's probably that. So I might have to check it because we did have quite a problem for a while. It's been getting better, but we did have a problem. So I think we might have done that. So don't worry, Memo. I'll look into that. I'll make her into a JFK by taking away that acronym and full name of power. Yeah, I mean, but like, it needs to be said, and we need to know who exactly. But yes, the Congresswoman. I'm putting the name to the face, friends. You can't be hostile and attack Gab while at the same time playing the victim when we respond. If you're going to attack the Gab community, you can expect a firm response with the truth. Okay, sure, buddy. These attacks seek to silence millions of community members on Gab, to shut Gab down as a whole, to stifle free speech, and to throw me in prison for operating a free speech platform. Okay. Not only do these attacks undermine the freedom of speech, but they also fuel hatred against Jewish people by feeding into narratives about Jewish power, control, and victimhood. Like what you're doing? Like what you're doing? So here we are. We get the Bible verses. Oh my god, and attempting to use Jesus Christ as a dog whistle. Jesus himself was very critical of powerful Jewish people and groups of his time as he spreads stereotypes. Literally in the same exact email, he does the exact same thing. Not the Bible verses. Yeah, I'm not gonna go over that. I don't think it's important. How would Jesus respond to the attacks of the ADL and other Jewish groups? Ye have heard it hath been said, thou shalt love thy neighbor and hate thine enemy. But I say unto you, love your enemies. In other words, these groups are enemies. Okay? Bless them that curse you, do good to them that hate you, and pray for them which despise you. So yeah, he's basically saying these are enemies. It's very easy to hate our enemies, but that's not what I'm gonna do. No, instead, I'm gonna sit here and send very, 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 very cringy emails to my email list, which is apparently very vast, reaches a lot of people, and I'm going to show you just how much I love my enemy by allowing very, very racist, anti-Semitic stuff to be posted on my site. That's how much love I have in my heart. Not hating your enemies does not mean pacifism and weakness. You can defend yourself against an enemy as attack while still loving him, as I do seek with this post. Okay. That's right, Rendies. The DOJ is investigating Gab? For what? I mean, for like, what is exactly the case that's happening? That this group does not make it anyone who fairly criticizes it get lumped into these Gabs. That's which I think that. Well, I think they actually exist. I mean, maybe. Maybe. This guy is like literally saying like, I don't hate you. Let me love you. That's what he's basically saying. After 5 years of attacks from Jewish groups like the ADL, I've become used to the lies, hate, and persecution, but I've never once caved to the pressures and demands of censorship, nor have I lashed out in hatred. No, you just allow it to exist in your platform. What these groups want me to do is project their hatred back at them, which I refuse to do because it's not the Christian thing to do. There's nothing hateful about what I'm saying, other than, the plethora of dog whistles in this email. I'm stating objective and verifiable facts while quoting Bible verses. Good to know that you made the separation between objective and verifiable facts and quoting Bible verses. I'm glad that there's like that weird slip there, my friend. I know, Memo. It's probably the automod. Yeah, because again, we've gotten quite a few people, so that's probably why that got stopped. My point is, yeah, true. I'm praying for these people and writing this blog post as a way to show them the love of the Lord Jesus Christ. I'm encouraging all to do the same. I care about praying for the souls of our enemies, even as they attack our family, my family, community, and business. Yikes. There are many ethnically Jewish Christians who are on Gab and support our cause. These are the good ones. There are also Jewish conservatives like Laura Loomer and others who have supported Gab for many years. There are also Jews on Gab who use Gab to criticize me and Gab itself, and I will fight for their right to do so. I harbor no hatred for Jewish people, and even those relentless attack on my business, my faith, and my family. Oh my god. Yeah, there's nothing anti-Semitic about stating truth. Yeah. Eat my whole... Oh, I think that any platform that was allowing this to perpetuate should be investigated. Looking at you, Facebook. I mean, there is plenty of groups there too. I'm gonna leave that there. Yikes. I don't know if I can... Oof. If you want to check out that video, it's pretty cringe. Child harassment actors, no, true. Nothing in it breaks TOS. Oh my god. Okay. But it's okay. 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 That's enough of that. Yeah. Anyway, folks, I do have to get going. Thank you guys for joining. I appreciate all of you guys hanging out here. I do gotta have to log into work. Thank you guys. If you guys enjoy the content, make sure you hit that follow button. Make sure you go onto our YouTube and hit that subscribe button. It really does help us out. I appreciate all of you guys hanging out here. The cringe here is so palpable. True. Thank you guys, I appreciate it. Let's head on over to a iDan Simpson. iDan Simpson's great. Let's head on over there, folks. Thank you guys so much. As always, please stay safe. Please take care of each other. I love y'all, and I hope to see you guys in the next stream. See ya! Sorry about that, folks. I do have to get going. Let's head on over in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Here we go.